Are white South Africans that bad? Disclaimer. This testimony is based on the accounts of a small number of American and European women, now middle-aged, who have had long-term personal interactions with a group of white English South Africans born around 1950s to 1970s. These accounts are drawn from years of lived experience, spanning friendships, professional ties, and personal relationships. The purpose of sharing these testimonies is to raise awareness among Europeans and others about the deeply troubling behaviors exhibited by some individuals who were raised during apartheid and exposed to systemic abuse, both in society and within their own homes. These behaviors, which include emotional manipulation, racism, and patriarchal control, continue to affect interpersonal relationships today and should not be normalized or excused. These individuals report a pattern of ingrained racism, emotional abuse, and patriarchal control that permeates relationships and social norms in these circles. The men often display calculated emotional manipulation, while the women engage in elitist power dynamics, sometimes demanding to be called madam by black domestic workers, even into the modern era. These people during apartheid and after apartheid lived in a privileged position by exploiting other races. Within these social circles, extreme behavior is not uncommon. One recalled incident involved removing a baby from a sleeping European mother without consent, and in another account drugging a baby and being passive regarding calling an ambulance. The act, shocking as it was normalized or downplayed among misogynist peers. Racism is not just systemic, it's interpersonal. In one intimate social group, terms like "my bastard" were used to label the baby born out of wedlock to white European woman. In another case, a man referred to his partner behind her back as "my black from Europe," exposing his racial prejudice in private discourse. The woman in question is white European, devoted mother. These labels weren't isolated. They reflected the group's attitudes toward race, women, and legitimacy. When confronted, these individuals would lie or gaslight their way out. A particularly telling moment occurred in 2006. Before an unplanned visit to the partners-in-law family, a violent scene unfolded. The man abruptly threw the baby into the arms of the European mother. It was a shocking, spontaneous act of extreme aggression. By sheer luck and instinct, she managed to catch the infant, preventing serious harm. Later that same day, the European woman, the English South African man, and the baby, unmarried and living together for 7 years, approached the white South African in-law family home. They entered the house, but the owner's white South African would not come out to greet us, although they were in the house. The tension seemed rooted in both racial prejudice against white Europeans or maybe discomfort with the couple's non-traditional status, or maybe the fact that they refused to meet the black from Europe. This was 2006. One woman recalls that, at just 14 years old during apartheid schooling, she was labeled the black by classmates, for no reason other than her summer naturally tan skin. This casual cruelty underlines how colorism was embedded in youth culture and socialization. In South Africa, substance abuse and promiscuity, cheating were recurring themes in these circles. Alcoholism was commonplace, and hard drugs were present. Among teenagers, exchanging romantic partners became normalized as they socialize in a small circle of white circle. Tight-knit families were often involved in infidelity, intermarriage among relatives, and blurred boundaries between loyalty, deception, and ambition. Financial manipulation and strategic relationships was quietly accepted bad behavior. In 2009, while visiting South African relatives in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, the family experienced a SWAT raid at the home of the South African brother, an ordeal that he ironically described as fun. The individuals described here have not only maintained their grip on power and privilege but expanded it, infecting new generations. 2 now-grown children, once babies held in their mother's arms, are today caught in the millionaire grip of this same toxic family. The European mother, who loves them unconditionally, has been completely alienated. This is not merely emotional estrangement, It reflects a pattern of behavior identified as parental alienation syndrome, PAS. A term introduced in the 1980s to describe cases where one parent systematically manipulates a child to reject the other. While PAS remains controversial and is not officially recognized as a clinical diagnosis by all institutions, behaviors associated with parental alienation are widely acknowledged and condemned in family courts around the world. It is a form of psychological abuse with long-lasting consequences for both the targeted parent and the children involved. The pain of this alienation runs deep, as the mother's presence, identity, and love are systematically erased from her children's lives, replaced by silence, distortion, and control. The injustice is not only morally devastating but potentially punishable under laws meant to protect familial bonds and the emotional health of minors. In southwest London, a South African neighbor enlisted his builder friend, an ex-rugby player, to pour cement across the garden of a rented property owned by someone overseas who'd never even met them. And that wasn't the only stunt they pulled. This testimony does not indict all white South Africans.